So today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Sarasota, Florida. So first, a little bit about Sarasota. It is a city on the Gulf Coast of Florida, so along the Gulf of Mexico. It is really renowned for its beaches more than anything. Always, every year it shows up on the best beaches in the world. 𝑧𝒔𝒊𝒄𝒆 is the biggest and most well-known of the beaches here in Sarasota. So very, very well known, but 𝒔𝒊𝒄𝒆 is not the only amazing beach in the Sarasota area. So we're gonna tell you a little bit about it. Tons of activities, amenities, great city. About an hour south of Tampa, if you're trying to figure out where it's at on a map. Hour south, you've got Fort Myers about an hour south of that. So basically like where Tampa's at and kind of the tip, it's almost not quite halfway down between those. Population in Sarasota is about 55,000 according to the 2020 census, latest one out so far. And some of the things that people love, some of the things that it's known for, of course, nature lovers, it's a great place. You got manatees, you got all kinds of course, Florida and alligators, all that good stuff. But nature lovers, lots of birds, all kinds of cool stuff. You got the beaches, like I said. It was rated the #1 best place to visit in Florida, according to US News. And it's also one of the best places to live in Florida. In many different ranking reports, it was US News ranked it as the #5 best place to retire in Florida. #7 in best school districts in all of Florida. It is the top school district in Southwest Florida. So basically south of Tampa, it is the highest ranked school district. #2 for best places for young professionals in Florida. So hotspot for young professionals to relocate to. The demographics tend to skew a little bit younger in Sarasota than most of the rest of Southwest Florida. Southwest Florida in general is typically known more for it being a place that people like to retire to, but Sarasota is a little bit younger tending. And it also is home to the #5 ranked hospital in the entire state of Florida, Sarasota Memorial. And they are nationally ranked in 2 different specialties. So let's get into the pros and cons of living in Sarasota. The #1 pro, I would say, is the weather. That is the #1 reason why most people move down to Southwest Florida. It could also be the biggest con, but #1 pro is the weather. It is warm all year round, beautiful winters. Yes, the summers do get a little bit hot, but weather is #1. #2, I would say, is no state income tax, although that is a benefit for all of Florida, not just Sarasota. So weather, no state income tax, and I guess those are kind of a benefit. Weather is kind of a benefit to all of Florida too, although it's not as warm and tropical the further north you go. So basically, a lot of people even say that the Tampa is still too cold in the winter. So Sarasota is kind of the threshold, like that Sarasota Bradenton area is kind of where people usually try to get below. And so the nice thing about Sarasota, it's far enough down that most everybody thinks the weather is fantastic, but it is the furthest north area that you get into that range where everybody thinks the weather is great all year. And so if you do want to take a road trip out of the state, it doesn't take quite as long to get out. So beautiful beaches. We talked about one of the top ranked hospitals in the state. And so quality healthcare is another big pro for Sarasota. Highest ranked healthcare in all of Southwest Florida. Lots of activities and things to do. Sarasota is one of the larger cities. Has a lot to do with the arts. The Ringling Museum is there in Sarasota with the Ringling family that built their home there and everything. And lots of activities surrounding that. There's a ton of stuff in the downtown waterfront area. Lots of cultural activities and performing arts stuff, things to do there. And Of course, tons of outdoor activities with the great weather, and so many excellent restaurants, food, dining, bars, things like that. Just tons of stuff to do. It's a very active area. Good location. You're close proximity to Tampa. So if you want the bigger stuff, more things to do, professional sports, stuff like that, you're only an hour drive to Tampa. Has professional hockey, professional football. So they've got the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team. It is home, the Tampa area is home to multiple spring training baseball teams. So you've got, and Sarasota as well. In Sarasota, you have the Pirates and the Orioles in Sarasota, Bradenton area. You got both of those teams there. And then up into the Tampa area, you've got the Phillies, and just down south, you have in Port Charlotte is the Rays spring training stadium, and in Venice is the Atlanta Braves. And then down in Fort Myers, you have the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins. So you've got tons of spring training activities nearby, plus like I said, the two teams right there in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. And so lots of good stuff going on with that. Now, some of the cons. With all of the activities and things that they have going on, and with it being one of the larger cities, it is one of the more expensive areas in Southwest Florida to live. Sarasota is pretty comparable to Naples. If you're comparing the two, I would say price-wise, they're pretty similar. Personally, if I had a preference, it's Sarasota over Naples, just because I feel like there's more stuff to do, a little bit bigger city, so more activities, more things going on. But cost of living is up there for sure. Hurricane risk, pretty much all of Florida has that. Along the Gulf Coast and along the East Coast are going to be, anytime you're near the water, of course, yes, it's going to be higher risk. You can mitigate that a little bit by moving a little bit further inland and still being in Sarasota, but it will help to mitigate some of the risk from any potential hurricane damage and things like that. Traffic is one of those things because it is such a seasonal community. This is very similar to pretty much most of Florida. In the winter months, as the what we refer to as the snowbirds, the people from up north that come down part-time and rent, or part-time and own, either way, but they come down part-time. A lot of people come down part-time in the winter months, and so the traffic gets pretty bad in the winter months. Sarasota traffic has not, in my opinion, not gotten as bad as some of the other areas in the off-peak months as the population has surged over the last few years. So snowbirds and tourists, of course, can be considered a negative. They're a big positive for the economy in Sarasota, but with that comes more traffic, more people at all of the things to do. So the restaurants get busier. You need to make sure you have reservations. The bars get busier. You may not get a seat or a table. The events, the shows, the activities get busier, the beaches get busier, so parking's harder to find. All of those things happen as the population surges during those winter months. So yes, for especially the full-time residents, many of them see it as a negative when the snowbirds come down because everything's just busier. So as we said, prices are high. Real estate's getting more expensive, rentals are getting more expensive, and so those things tend to just make it less affordable and harder for people to survive, harder to find places. So if that's the case, there are some surrounding areas that are a little bit less expensive that you can still have quick and easy access to Sarasota. So let's hit up a couple of cool things to do. I would say this is the last bit that you want to check out. Make sure you watch till the end. But these are the cool things to do in Sarasota. They've got a lot of really interesting attractions. The Ringling Museum I mentioned before, and that's a really, really nice museum. Lots of cool stuff in there. And then of course the beaches. One of the lesser known beaches, Lido Key, I really like a lot. Doesn't take nearly as long of a walk to get to the actual beach compared to Siesta Key from the parking areas. Tons of great golf courses, of course. Southwest Florida and Florida in general is very well known for golfing also. So lots of great golf courses. The 𝑧𝒔𝒂𝒏 River State Park is fantastic. Lots of trails if you like hiking. Tons of great trails and areas to hit up there. The Sarasota National Cemetery is really interesting as well, and the 𝑯𝒂𝒂𝒏 Botanical Gardens. You also have the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary. And then last but not least, the Boat Marine Lab and Aquarium is really cool as well. And if you're a shopper, you can't miss the UTC Mall, and also St. Armand Circle is fantastic. So great things to hit up if you're visiting. And yeah, hope that helps with pros and cons. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions or have any pros that I didn't mention that you like about Sarasota, or cons, that things that you don't like about Sarasota, please drop them in the comments. Let us know, and let's talk about them.
Inspirasi tanpa batas, you know who I am. Notasi berotasi, telepati, stay the best man, you got